In this constant race for top talent, could your own recruitment tools actually be holding you back? Today, we're going to talk about a massive shift happening right now, moving away from those rigid, one-size-fits-all systems to something way smarter, way more flexible, and honestly, a lot more powerful. Let's dive in.
So let me just ask you this straight up. When you think about your recruitment AI, is it a black box? One of those mysterious lockdown systems that forces you to work its way? Or is it more like a set of building blocks, letting you create the perfect hiring machine that actually fits your needs? That's really the big question we're digging into.
All right, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll break down what we mean by the monolithic AI trap. Then we'll introduce this really cool concept, the Lego block approach. From there, we'll get practical and talk about building your recruitment stack, explore the very real human-centered advantages, and then wrap it all up with how to rethink your entire tech strategy. Okay, so let's start with a problem that I bet a lot of you know all too well. It's this monolithic AI trap. That sinking feeling of being stuck with an inflexible, all-in-one system that, let's be honest, probably causes more headaches than it solves. It really comes down to two totally different ways of thinking. On one side, you've got these monolithic systems. They're the all-in-one suites that promise you the world, but usually end up being a rigid, one-size-fits-none kind of deal. You get locked in with one vendor, and that's that. But on the other side, you've got modular architectures. This is where you get to pick and choose the best of the best tools for each specific job. It's all about flexibility and control. And this old way of doing things, it creates some serious pain points. Suddenly, your company's unique hiring process has to be squeezed into a rigid, preset workflow. You see some amazing new tool out there, but nope, you can't integrate it. You're stuck using a kind of clunky assessment feature just because it's part of the package. It's a technological dead end, really. You're just trapped. So, what's the alternative? Well, it's a huge shift in thinking. We like to call it the Lego block approach. It's just a much better way to build your technology piece by piece, exactly how you want it. So what does modular actually mean in this context? Okay, picture this. You start with a central hub, like your main applicant tracking system, or ATS, and then you plug in specialized, top-of-the-line tools for each different task. It's kind of like having a central command center that connects to a whole team of elite specialists. Yeah, exactly. Instead of buying a pre-built plastic castle right out of the box, you're given a huge box of Legos. Need a better way to screen resumes? You just grab the resume screening block. Want to level up your assessments? Just plug in a gamified assessment block. You get to be the architect, designing a system that perfectly matches your strategy. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But how does it actually work in the real world? Let's get into the nuts and bolts of how you can build your own custom tech stack. Think of it like this. Your core HR system, your ATS, that's your foundation. Then, for each stage of recruitment, you plug in a specialized AI module. For sourcing, maybe it's a super smart candidate discovery tool. For screening, an intelligent resume parser that actually works. For interviewing, maybe a video analysis platform. Each piece you add is the absolute best at what it does. So, the big question is, how do all these different pieces talk to each other without creating a complete mess? Well, the magic word here is APIs, application programming interfaces. They basically act like universal translators, letting all this different software connect and share data without any drama. So even though you have all these best-in-class tools working hard behind the scenes, your recruiter just sees one smooth, unified workflow. It's seamless. Now, this is about so much more than just a tech upgrade. When you go modular, there are these profound, human-centered advantages that really empower your entire talent acquisition team. So, why are so many organizations making this switch? Well, the numbers tell the story. Flexibility is the big one, a whopping 40%. Companies need to be able to pivot and adapt their hiring process quickly. But look at the other reasons. It's more cost-effective, you avoid getting locked in with a single vendor, and this is huge, you always have access to the latest and greatest tools. You can try out that cool new startup's tech without having to rip out your entire system. And that really gets to the heart of this entire philosophy. This isn't about AI coming in to replace people. Not at all. It's about AI augmenting them. The whole goal is to automate all those repetitive administrative tasks so that your recruiters can focus on what humans do best. Building relationships, thinking strategically, and, making amazing hires. And here you can see the real-world impact of that idea. With a monolithic system, recruiters are often just buried under a mountain of admin work. But a modular system completely flips that script. The technology handles all the low-value stuff, freeing up your team's expertise for the high-value, strategic work. For any talent team out there, that's an absolute game changer.
So when you put it all together, this leads to a really fundamental question about how we even approach technology in the first place. It forces us to rethink our entire strategy from the ground up.
Ultimately, it's about a new mindset. The goal is no longer to just go out and buy a product off the shelf. The goal now is to strategically build a platform. It's a big shift from being a passive consumer of whatever tech someone sells you to becoming an active architect of your own future-proofed recruitment system. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Take a hard look at your own hiring process. Where's the biggest bottleneck? Where's the most friction? Where could just one specialized tool make the biggest impact? What's the very first Lego block that your process is crying out for right now? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.